Good morning. Today's focus is core strength and stability. The two are intrinsically linked. You need strength through the core to be able to stabilize when you lose your footing. So, the core is often mistaken as abdominal muscles, but it's more than that. It's not just the front of the body, it's the back of your body. The strength, the flexibility through the spine, how your muscle fibers respond from your shoulders to your knees. Today, we are going to focus on shoulders to hips. Yes, there is some abdominal work, but also lower back, lots of strength. You might actually make sure you have a towel handy. We'll see. If you have a yoga block, you can go ahead and grab that. I'm practicing without a yoga block today. If you have practiced with me before, you know that I like to sit on a rolled up blanket or a rolled up towel. Just helps me sit taller. It's more comfortable. And really, that's the key. Always doing what feels right in your body. Really paying attention to how your body feels, how your body responds throughout your practice. Let's get started. We've delayed long enough. Here we go. Sitting comfortably. Sitting tall. Rest your hands on your thighs, palms up, palms down, it doesn't matter which. And just take a breath. The moment you bring your focus to your breath, it begins to deepen. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Get a sense of how you feel physically, how steady you feel, how focused your mind is today. I bring that up because if you're having difficulty bringing your attention to how you're feeling physically, you may have difficulty sustaining poses as your mind wanders. So take a few breaths now to really bring your attention to your body, to your breath. Notice if there's any little spots of tension or tightness, and use your exhalation to really soften and let go anywhere that might be holding on. Relax the shoulders. Feel your weight sinking into your hips, into your legs. With your next breath in, sweep your arms up. Bring hands together overhead, and as you exhale, draw your hands down towards your heart. 2 more breaths, just like that. Moving your arms in coordination with your breath. Make your breath a little bit bigger, your movement a little bit bigger with each repetition. Feel your body beginning to open. Your mind becoming more focused. Pausing with hands right in front of heart center. Just taking a breath here to reconnect. Connecting mind to the body, body to the breath. Now release your hands. If your eyes are closed, you can go ahead and open them and just reach your arms out side to side, really high on your fingertips, placing your hands just where your fingertips land, just out to the side on either side. If you're feeling a little uncomfortable through the hips, you can go ahead and stretch your legs out straight in front. All right. Hands straight out to the side, resting high on the fingertips so your upper body is really long. Breath is steady. A breath in. And as you exhale, relax the shoulders and then slowly draw your chin towards your chest. But think about just bending at the neck, from right between the shoulders to the base of the skull. Stay tall from the tailbone to the top of the shoulders. So no rounding through the lower back. begin to use the core, finding out that little level of stability. So if your lower back has begun to round, it means there's a little more strength that needs to develop there. And that's what we're going to be working on today. Stay tall. Then lift up. Chin pulls away from the chest. Fingertips still just grazing the floor, using the arms, the hands to keep the upper body long. A little bit of support there so the core is not fully engaged. Next breath. As you exhale, tilt your head to the right, towards your right shoulder. Relax both shoulders. Try not to let the tension creep in. Just tilting your head until you feel the long stretch from behind your left ear along the left side of your neck. And then come back to center. Working the other way this time. Starting in the tall position, chin right over top of your heart. Take a breath. And with your exhalation, head tilts towards the left this time. Just tilting far enough to feel the stretch into the right side of the neck now. Shoulders heavy. Notice if your shoulders have begun to creep up towards your ears, and just drop them down with your breath out. Staying tall. Minimizing the rounding through the lower back. And lifting up, back to center. Relaxing the arms. All right, let's come to standing at the top of the mat. Starting off in mountain pose. Feet hip distance apart. Standing tall. You want to feel your hips over top of your ankles. Shoulders over top of your hips. Now, create a little bit of support by pulling the belly in, just slightly. Now, instead of bracing through the lower back, soften through the lower back. Draw the fronts of the shoulders back and slide your shoulder blades down towards your spine. So by keeping the collarbones open, the belly button, the rib cage needs to pull in slightly to maintain alignment. So the front of the body needs to respond here. Now inhale, sweep the arms up. Notice how when you sweep your arms up, the back of the body begins to respond. And as you exhale, just let the arms sweep down. Let's do that for 2 more breaths. Sweeping up. Just feel the weight shifting through the core. Feel your core respond. And release. Now this time on the last breath, minimize the curve in the lower back as the hands go up. Feel the strength required in the belly, in the back of the rib cage. And pause. All right, let's add a little more movement to continue our warm-up. Breath in, sweep the arms up. With the breath out, arms sweep down, right foot steps back, regular walking step, left knee bends. Coming into a warrior 1 position. Just take a breath, moving with the breath, releasing, stepping forward. Other side. Breath in, arms sweep up. Breath out, left foot steps back, regular walking step as your arms sweep down. Inhale, sweep up. And on the exhalation, step forward. Let's do that again 2 more times on each side. Breath in, right foot steps back as the arms sweep down. Push into your right heel. Stabilize with the lower body. Move with your breath. Move at the pace of your own breath. Engaging through the belly, through the rib cage to minimize the curve in the lower back. And one more time on the left side, moving with your own breath. I'll meet you in mountain pose. No need to rush. Be mindful of your movement, mindful of your breath, mindful of how your body is responding. Now meeting up in mountain pose once again. Feet hip distance apart. Hips over top of the ankles. Tiny bit of softness in the knees. Belly button pulls in just enough to feel the strength through the midsection. Not just in the belly, but all the way around the girdle. Yes, there's an old-fashioned word for you. Fronts of the shoulders pull back. Solid, steady. Now get a sense that your chin is parallel to the floor and your ears are floating right over top of your shoulders. This is your stable alignment. So how do you know about your balance? Well, let's engage. Soles of the feet press into the floor. Breathe. You can feel your weight equally distributed. Now, if you feel steady, go ahead and close your eyes. There should be minimal sway, minimal wavering as the soles of the feet press into the mat. You should feel strong, you should feel steady, not like you're going to lose your balance. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, it means you need to develop a little bit of lower body strength. Really engage through the soles of the feet. Anchor yourself to the floor. Now keep that. Keep the soles of the feet anchored to the floor. Let's add some movement to the upper body. Breath in, sweep up. Breath out, swaying to the right. Inhale, swaying back to center. Exhale, sway to the left. Inhale, back to center. And release with the exhalation. Feet solid. Inhale, let's do that again. Arms sweeping up. As you exhale, leaning to the right, you can feel your feet making up for the shift in weight. Back to center. Exhale to the left. Feel with your feet. And back to center. Exhale, release. All right, let's inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees. Bend your knees enough, your fingertips come to the mat. If you have a yoga block, you can go ahead and reach for that. Just working on stretching a little bit through the backs of the legs. Now, I want you to keep the backs of the knees soft here today. You should be able to fold far enough forward that your fingertips come to the mat, but with the knees soft, you'll still feel a stretch in the back of the legs, right? Careful balance, always. Legs do not need to be strong. Knees do not need to be locked straight to get a stretch. Take a breath. Really relax through the core here. Let your belly and rib cage rest on your thighs. Focus on just getting a stretch through the back of the legs. Now bend your knees a little bit more so you can plant your hands completely. Palms of the hands, fingertips connecting to the mat. Walk your feet back to downward dog. All right, let's stretch out the backs of the legs a little more deeply now. Just take your time pumping your heels a little bit, walking your downward dog a little bit. Now settle in to your downward dog. Shoulders broad, really relax through the belly, relax through the rib cage. Give the core a rest here. It's going to get plenty of work, trust me. As you exhale, think about reaching down with your heels. Play with your edge in the terms of the intensity in the back of your legs and the stretch there. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Knees bent, weight in your feet, let your hands go. And as you inhale, just swing yourself up. I'm reaching out today just because I want to, and then exhale, releasing down. All right, let's step right foot back. Long step back, landing on the ball of your right big toe. Now pivot on your right foot, drop your heel, right toes pointing to the right, left toes pointing forward. Got a 90-degree angle happening with your feet. And if you draw a straight line back from your left heel to your right foot, it connects both feet. Soften through the shoulders. Feel the soles of your feet, right? Connected to the floor, good solid footing there. Now inhale, just sweep your arms out, straight out side to side. And as you exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee, right hand sweeps straight up. Take another breath. As you exhale, turn to bring your gaze upwards. If you can, look up along your right arm. Now keep the legs strong. Press into the mat with the right foot, give it a pull towards the top of the mat. Left heel pushes down, give it a pull back. Really engage through the inner thigh here. Soft through the core. Just a long stretch, creating space. Now take another breath. And as you exhale, reach your right hand overhead. Turn to look towards the right wall, so you're no longer looking up towards the ceiling. Get a really long stretch through the right side. If you want to take this into a bigger stretch, you can pull your chin away from your chest and gaze along your right arm in front of you. Really lengthen. Focus on pressing into the mat with the outside edge of the right foot and reaching forward with your right hand. Same direction that your left toes are pointing in, over the top of your yoga mat. Now inhale, sweep the right arm straight up. And as you exhale, right hand comes down. Then the left. Pivot onto your left big toes, right big toe, step forward. Knees bent, weight in your feet. You can feel the soles of your feet pushing into the mat. Sweep up with your breath in. And as you exhale, release. Left foot steps back. Step back towards the back of your mat and then pivot. Land on your left heel. Left toes pointing to the left, right toes pointing straight ahead towards the top of your mat. You can feel the soles of your feet properly connected to the floor. Fully connected to the floor, to your yoga mat. Take a breath in and just sweep up. Big breath. As you exhale, right elbow comes to your right knee. Left hand reaches straight up. Turn to bring your gaze up towards the ceiling, looking along your left arm. Breathe into both sides of the rib cage. Now left foot presses down, give it a pull towards the top of the mat. Right foot pushes down, give it a pull towards the back of the mat. Scissoring action of the legs, engaging through the inner thigh, especially the right inner thigh. Now take this bigger, take the stretch on the left side longer by reaching overhead, reaching your left hand over top of your mat. Left upper arm comes beside your left ear as you turn to look straight to the left. If you want to take this even bigger, pull your chin away from your chest, look along your left arm. Breathe. Long side on the left, but still getting the breath into the right side of the rib cage as well. Inhale, left arm reaches straight up. As you exhale, left hand sweeps down. Then the right. Pivot onto your left big toe. Step forward. Knees bent. Weight in your feet. You can feel the soles of your feet pushing into the mat. The strength of the legs as you inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, return to mountain pose. Pausing right here, take a breath. Bend the knees. Step the right foot back. Long step back once again. Land on the ball of the right big toe. Pivot. Turn the right foot, drop the heel. Once again, 90-degree angle with the feet. But this time, instead of the weight going forward, we're going to bring the weight back. So inhale, sweep the arms out. And as you exhale, right hand comes to your thigh, left hand reaches up. Now, slide your shoulder blades down your back. Now really use your right hand on your thigh to lengthen on the left side. So reach up and pull the left side over top of the long right side. Bring your gaze upwards. Feel the long stretch into the left hip, the left side. Notice how the right leg responds, right shoulder responds, freeing up the left side. Right? It's all about that seesaw action in the body. When you engage one side, the opposite side responds, and you need to notice what the response is. One more breath. Use your inhalation. Sweep left hand down to your hip. Feel your shoulders square off. Hands on your hips. Now pivot. Pivot onto your right big toe. Woo-hoo. Bend your right knee. Remember that left foot, it's supposed to be pulling back. Yeah. We're going to push with the right and step forward. Release your hands. Getting ready for the other side. Reverse warrior on the left side. Bend your knees so you can really step the left foot back. Land on the ball of the left big toe and pivot. You can feel your balance being challenged as you turn. Solid legs. Feet firmly pressing into the mat. You can feel the scissoring action in your legs already. Body's beginning to respond in what it already knows how to do. Sweep the arms up. With your exhalation, left hand comes to your thigh, right hand reaches up. Pause here, drop the shoulders down. Let your shoulder blades slide down towards your hips. Lean into your left thigh without collapsing the left side of the rib cage. So reach up with the right side and then pull back as you stretch the right side over top of the left side, rather than minimizing the left side to lengthen the right side. Keep both sides as long as possible. And breathe. Steady yourself with your breath. Bring your gaze upwards. Let it land wherever it wants to land. But really notice when your body sways and corrects itself. You should be able to adjust your gaze, look in several different places without falling over. But this takes practice. Breathe equally into both sides of the rib cage. Your next breath in, you're going to sweep forward. Right hand to your hip, left hand to your hip. Now pivot. Again, feel the challenge to your balance as the upper body adjusts to the movement in the lower body. Bend your left knee, really ground down through the right foot, and push with the left. Release the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bow forward, plant your hands, step back to downward dog. So find your downward dog position. Check in with your fingertips, palms of the hands. Really good grip on the mat here. Now, keeping the hands and feet in place, we're going to shift forward into a high plank position. So shoulders, hips do not drop below the shoulders. Now just shifting forward, push into the mat with the balls of the big toes. Shoulders come over top of the wrists, but the hips stay high. And then push back. Now let's do that with an inhalation. Inhalation as the shoulders come forward. Exhalation as you push back. Do that again 2 more times. Inhalation coming forward, hips staying high, looking straight down at the mat. As you exhale, push back. Inhale, one more high plank, hips higher than the shoulders, but shoulders coming over top of the wrists. And push back. Whew. Now lift your heels really high, bring your knees all the way down to the mat. Keep your toes curled under. Push down, left hand, right knee. Look at the top edge of your mat. Kind of connect to the natural alignment of your spine. Now draw the belly button and the rib cage in. Not a death grip, but just enough to feel some stability there, some strength there, strength that comes from within. Belly button pulling in towards the spine, ribs weaving together. Left hand pushes down, right hand sweeps forward. Feel the shift. Feel the strength now on the left side, just so you can lift the right hand forward. Breathe. Do not hold your breath here. Breathe. With your exhalation, right hand comes down. Feel the shift the moment the right hand begins weight bearing. Pausing, taking a breath. Whew. All right, let's re-engage. Eyes towards the top edge of the mat. Belly button and rib cage pull in. Right hand pushing down. You can feel the weight in your knees also. When you're ready, just sweep the left arm forward. Feel the right side grab hold, the rib cage, the belly. Left side is also working, but not to the same extent. Right? The seesaw action of the body. For the left side to be free, the right side needs to hold on a little bit tighter. With your exhalation, hands come down to the mat. Left hand comes to the mat. Take a breath. And as you exhale, lift up to downward dog just for a transition. 1 breath only. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Knees bent enough that your fingertips come to the mat, or you can reach for your yoga block if you happen to have one. Relax your neck, let your head dangle. Just let your fingertips rest on the mat. Give the heels of the hands a really good rest here. Whew. Now lift your eyes, look beyond the top edge of the mat first. Take a breath. Whew. Bend your knees a little bit more, drop your hips a little more deeply. Should be able to see all your toes, knees pointing in the same direction as your toes, knees aligned over top of your ankles. Push down with the soles of your feet. Peel your rib cage and belly away from your thighs. Keep your hips low. Hips are higher than your knees, shoulders higher than your hips. Now sweep your arms straight out side to side. And bring your gaze forward. Minimize the curve in the lower back. So forward just by looking at the floor in front of you. Pause here. Just take a breath. Feel the legs working. Feel the shoulders as the arms extend outwards. Now keep that. Keep the hands reaching out. Just enough energy in the hands so your fingers are spread wide. Now shift your weight into your left foot. And just put a little less weight in your right heel. Feel the weight shifting into the ball of the right big toe. Now keeping low, just pull your right heel as high as you can, but stay steady, stay even. Even through the shoulders, even through the hips. Let your right knee absorb the lifting of the right heel. And then slowly bring it down. So from the waist up, it looks like you're not doing anything at all. Now the left side, shift your weight into your right foot a tiny little bit. Lift the left heel. Just lessen the weight there first. Shoulders steady, level, hips square. And then when you're ready, lift the left heel as much as possible, deepening the bend in the left knee to absorb the lift of the left heel without shifting through the upper body of the shoulders. One more breath. Bring the left heel down. Yep, we're still in chair pose here. Shoulders, oh, we can feel the strength. Now inhale, push into the floor. Hands come together overhead. Hands floating down, palm pressing to palm. Pausing right here. Hands in front of heart center. Take a breath. Feel your weight perfectly balanced over your feet. Hips over top of your ankles. Shoulders over top of your hips. Ears over top of your shoulders. Breathe. Release your hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bow forward. Fingertips to the mat. Now step your right foot back. Long lunge step straight back now. Turn your right foot, drop your heel. Left elbow to your left knee, right hand to your hip. Let's set up the legs first in this side angle stretch. We're going to put our two poses together. Side angle and reverse warrior, and shift from one to the other. But first, let's stabilize through the lower body. So pressing into the mat with the right foot, outer edge of the right foot, baby toe, outer heel, pulls forward. Left foot pushes down, pulls back. You can feel the legs pulling in the scissor action. Now the upper body, you've got lift and freedom through the upper body. So here we go, right arm reaches up. Take a breath. As you exhale, swing yourself wide. We're going to transition through warrior two right there. And then right hand to your thigh, left hand reaches all the way back. Breath in, reaching wide. Exhaling, returning to the side stretch. Inhaling, swinging wide, lifting, shifting back, reaching as you exhale. Two more transitions. Exhaling, coming into the pose. Inhaling, transitioning through warrior two with arms stretched wide. Exhaling. One more time so we can finish in reverse warrior. Legs stay strong. Now find the full expression of your reverse warrior here. Use the right side to stabilize so you can really open through the left. Try not to collapse through the right side, but lift the left side up and over. Ah, so good. Now inhale, reach wide through warrior two, and as you exhale, now reach all the way forward with your right hand. Feel the full expression of this side extension, side angle stretch. Try not to collapse through the left side, but lengthen through the right side. Inhale, right hand sweeps up. Exhale, right hand floats down to the mat, then the left. Pivot onto your right big toe, step back to downward dog. Yeah. Left foot steps back. So find your downward dog. Getting ready to shift through to high plank once again, but this time I want you to really draw the belly button inward. Create a little bit of rounding through the lower back. And think about moving your spine kind of like a slinky. So take a breath in, shift forward. Feel the belly button pull in. And then bring the gaze towards the top of the mat. As you exhale, push back. Belly button pulls in. Shoulders shift forward. Eyes look towards the top edge of the mat. And shift back. 2 more times. Belly button pulls in. You can feel the rounding through the lower back, shifting forward like a slinky. Let your breath be what it wants to be, but make sure that the belly button is drawing in. You can feel the rounding, the slinky spine, and the muscles respond in the front and back of the body. You shift from downward dog to high plank. Take a breath. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Pause, knees bent, rest your belly, your rib cage on your thighs. Left foot steps back. Long lunge step all the way to the back of the mat. Pivot on your left foot, drop your heel. 90-degree angle with your feet. Right elbow to your right knee. Left hand to your hip. Set up your legs first. Make sure they're responding in a way that you want them to here in this side angle stretch. So outer edge of your left foot, follow the baby toe, outer heel, push down, pull forward towards the top of the mat. Right heel pushes down, pulls back. Feel the solid strength of the legs. Now inhale, sweep the left arm straight up. Bring your gaze upwards. Ooh, I felt a little waver there. Breathe. Now feet stay steady. Solid connection to the earth below. Here we go, getting ready to transition. As you inhale, you sweep wide through warrior two. As you exhale, reaching back to reverse warrior. Left hand to your thigh, right hand reaches up and over. Breath in, sweeping wide. Breath out, reaching down to side, intense side stretch. Really reach with the left hand. Breath in, reaching wide. Breath out, reaching over. Breath in, reaching wide. Feel the freedom of the upper body. The lower body stays steady. Let's do 2 more full repetitions, finishing in reverse warrior. Move with your own breath. Feel your body respond. Try not to let your mind wander. Keep the mind-body-breath connection, and it will really improve awareness. Here we go. I'm going to rest here. Rest is the wrong word. Remain here in reverse warrior. Now really go for it. So use the support. Left hand, support of the whole left side. Lengthen through the right side. Legs strong. Really press down through the outer edge of the left foot so you don't sink into your arch. And then reach over. Ah, beautiful. Amazing. Getting ready to transition. Here we go. Inhaling, sweeping wide through warrior two. And as you exhale, sinking onto your knee, use your right elbow support, strengthen through the whole right side. Long through the left side. Long stretch. Breathe. And go longer still by pulling your chin away from your chest and looking in the direction your left fingers are pointing. Full expression of this intense side angle pose. A breath in, left arm sweeps up. Breath out, left hand comes down to the mat, and then the right. Pivot onto your left big toe, plant your hands, step back to downward dog. Yes, we've got one more plank downward dog flow to do. So hands fully connected to the mat, fingertip, palms, thumbs. Legs strong. Here we go. When you're ready, belly button pulls in and you shift forward. Make sure there's room for your breath there. Find the balance between holding tightly, but also having room for your breath. Room for movement. That's the key to balance, to stability. Belly button pulls in, shoulders over top of wrists. You can feel the slinky action through the spine. Two more times. Belly button pulls in. You feel the rounding through the lower back. You feel the back of the body respond to reach the eyes forward. One last time. You can do it. Keep the hips high. It's not about dropping the hips below the shoulders here. It's a high plank. 2 breaths in downward dog. Really sink your heels. Use your hands to push the shoulders broad. Relax through the belly and rib cage now. Whew. Lift your heels. Bring your knees all the way down to the mat. Big toes together to touch. Take a child's pose. Really sink in. Support your forehead with a yoga block, your hands, or bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. It's not about how low you can go into your child's pose here. It's just about what feels good so you can take a breath and restore before we finish the floor section of the class today. Whew, so good. Take one more breath here. Press up. Swing your legs round to the top of the mat. Legs straight out in front. Sit really tall. It can help if you just pull the flesh out from under your sits bones and you feel really long through the lower back here. If you feel like you're leaning backwards or rounding through the lower back, go ahead and sit on a yoga block or sit on your rolled up blanket, your rolled up towel. And then bend the right knee. Let your right knee fall wide. Bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left leg. You do not need to have your right heel all the way up into your groin, just where your foot naturally wants to be. If you need to support your right knee because your hip might be feeling a little bit tight or perhaps you have a knee injury, you can go ahead, again, use a yoga block, use your blanket, place it underneath your thigh for support. Just helps you relax, helps you soften. Left hand beside your hip. Just turn to look at your left foot, left big toe. Spread your toes on your left foot. You really want to anchor your weight on the back of your left heel rather than letting your left foot roll out to the side. Now inhale, reach up with the right arm. Create length and space through the body. Anchor the back of the left leg down. Exhale, fold forward. Now bring your right hand to the floor wherever it happens to land. Mine is landing just slightly beside my right toes. And then sliding my left hand to the opposite, to the outside of my left leg. Now rather than collapsing towards your thigh, I want you to think about bringing your heart towards your toes. So keep your eyes on your toes. You want to stay long through the back. Now relax the right leg, let it sink down. Notice if you're holding on to the inner right thigh and soften there. Take a couple of breaths. Find the spot where you're feeling a stretch into the right hip, but it's manageable for you. Playing with the level of intensity. Now take your right hand, place it over top of your left shin, just below your knees somewhere, anywhere. Fingers wrapped to the outside of your left leg. Bring your left hand back beside your hip. Turn your head to look to the left. Make sure you can still see the screen. Take a breath, and as you exhale, just use your right hand on your knee to just gently rotate through the rib cage and shoulders, just a tiny little bit here. Breathe. Now think about pulling your breath into the back of your rib cage, really stretching there, challenging the muscles, those bilateral muscles that reach around the back of the rib cage. Give them a stretch. They hold pretty tight these days. With your breath out, I want you to turn your head and look at your left toes. Pause there. So feel the shoulders, the rib cage return to the neutral position. And then right hand to the floor. Left hand sweeps forward, comes forward to the outside of your left leg once again. Take a breath. And now as you exhale, look down towards your left knee. Take another breath. And with the exhalation this time, fold towards your knee. And if you feel like you can go deeper, if you can stretch the back of the body, because that's what we're doing here, stretching the back of the body, tuck your chin towards your chest. Just going slowly. Feeling the long stretch reaching from the base of the skull down to the shoulders, your hips. Let your breath flow. And lift your chin away from your chest. Eyes return to your left toes. Were they still spread apart, or did you let go of that energy there? Push into the floor. Lift yourself up. Switching sides. So support your right knee as you bring it back to center. Right leg reaching straight out. Bend your left knee. Left knee falls out to the side. Left foot just rests on the inside of your right leg. It doesn't matter where. You can use a rolled up blanket, a yoga block to support the underside of your left thigh if you feel like your hip is a little bit tight. If you feel like you want support there, if you feel scared to let go of your left leg, you need support underneath it. Spread your toes on your right foot. Anchor through the back of the right heel. Right hand beside your hip. Use the right hand, right arm to keep the upper body long. Lots of space there. Now inhale, reach, lengthen through the left side. As you exhale, left hand comes to the mat. Anywhere it lands is fine. High on your fingertips gives you a little more room, a little more reach. Now slide your right hand to the outside of your right leg, opposite your left. Look at your toes. Keep your gaze there. Your right toes. Take a breath. And as you exhale, think about bringing your heart towards your toes. If you keep your eyes on your toes, this will happen automatically. You'll stay long through the back of the body. Couple of breaths. Relax the inner left thigh, the inside of the left hip. Let your left leg just sink into the floor. Don't worry about it. Now left hand, place it to the top of your right shin. Anywhere below the knee it happens to land. Fingers wrapped to the outside of your leg. Right hand comes back beside your hip. Take a breath, and as you exhale, turn to look to the right. Use your left hand just to help you rotate a tiny bit through the rib cage and shoulders. So we've got two actions happening here in the vertebrae. We've got a forward fold and a twist. So this is why we need to be really mindful of just a gentle, tiny little twist through the rib cage and shoulders. Keep your eyes to the right. They don't have to be on the wall. They could be at the floor on the right side. Use your right hand for support, right arm for support so you don't collapse onto your right leg. Breathe. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Feel the work there. Now as you exhale, bring your eyes back to your right toes. Feel the rib cage and shoulders rotate. Bring your left hand back to the mat. Right hand comes forward to the outside of your right leg, opposite your left hand. Adjust your gaze now down towards your right knee. Take a breath. And as you exhale, bend at your elbows to ease into your forward fold. If you feel like you can stretch the back of the body a little bit more, you can go ahead and draw your chin in towards your chest. Slowly, to feel the gradual lengthening from the back of the skull, neck, the shoulders. Let your breath flow. Lift your chin away from your chest. Bring your eyes back to your right toes and then press up. Use your hands. Give yourself the support you need. Left leg comes back to center. Knees bent, feet on the floor. And just stretch all the way back. All the way back. Keep your knees bent. Get a sense that your ankles are underneath your knees. Bring your hands beside your hips. Heavy through the hips. Turn the palms down. It's getting a little bit of a stretch here. So keep your knees hugging towards each other. They don't need to touch, but you want to get a sense that your knees are pointing straight up towards the ceiling rather than falling out or falling in. Take a breath and just bring the arms up and overhead. Have a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of an arch through the back from your tailbone right between your shoulders. And then exhale, bring your hands back to your hips, back to your sides. Let's do that for 2 more breaths. Really long, slow breaths. Then a little bit of a stretch. Oh, yeah, that feels so good. And then bringing the hands back to your sides with your breath out. 1 more. And then stretch. And then letting go. Hands coming back to your sides. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little bit of a rock from side to side. Feet to the floor. And stretch your legs out one at a time. Coming into final relaxation. Relax your legs. Let your toes turn out as you roll onto the outside edges of your heels. Just take a breath or two to really focus on the legs. Let the legs feel really heavy. Feel yourself beginning to surrender to the floor, to the earth below. No longer having to hold on. Now do the same thing through the hips and the lower back. Take a couple of breaths here. Soften through the lower back. Let your hips feel really heavy. Now the hands and arms, shoulders, heavy, limp. Oh. You can feel like all the muscles are beginning to let go of your bones and everything's just feeling really heavy. Now the abdomen and rib cage. Just let your belly sink down into the floor. Front of the rib cage collapses into the back of the rib cage. Notice how your throat has softened. Your jaw is no longer clenched, teeth no longer pressing tightly together. There's a softness around your eyes. There's a feeling in your body that you're spent, but not exhausted. You feel like you've done good in the last hour or so. Really focused on yourself, focused on your breath, learned so much about how your body has responded to movement. Know that you have this strength within you to respond to anything. Anytime you're pushed off center just a tiny little bit, you can correct yourself. All it takes is a little mindfulness, a little focus, awareness of how you respond to return to your center. Take time to respond rather than simply react. Bring a little movement to your fingers and your toes. A little more movement, bigger movements now to your hands and your feet. And once again, turn your palms down so your hands are turned down right beside your hips. Let's have a longer stretch this time. As you take a breath in, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling and reach overhead until you feel the backs of your hands connect to the floor, your knuckles. Have a little bit of a stretch. And as you exhale, bring yourself all the way back to where you started. Hands beside your hips, heaviness and softness throughout the whole body. Let's do that again. A breath in, reaching up towards the ceiling, and then up overhead, knuckles connecting to the floor. Reach, have a stretch, and then let go of the stretch. Hands returning beside your sides, beside your hips. Reconnecting to your center. One more time. Breath in, sweeping up towards the ceiling, overhead. Stretch. And then all the way back. Letting go of everything. Returning to you. Bend your knees one at a time, placing your feet on the floor. The next breath or two, just gently roll onto your right side. Use your right arm to support your head and neck. Take another breath. Press up. Sit tall. Hands together at the heart. Eyes closed. Take a moment to be grateful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be loved. May all beings be at peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.